What's going on, people? Welcome to the United Stand. Kev's got his eyes out already. Kev's got his permanent face on, I think, for the rest of the show. It's the Sunday Monday show. We're back at it now. We're back at it. A game on Thursday, a game on Sunday. That's what it's going to be, as long as we make sure we stay in the Europa League and go all the way. So this Sunday show is going to be on Mondays, 8 o'clock. It's great. We've got a great cast. We're just waiting for Beth to hurry up. I don't know where she is. She's on her way. But loads to get through tonight, and some other topical stuff that the guys really want to get into as well. And I know you guys want to get into at home. We're going to start with Erling Haaland, with Manchester United basically making him, I feel like I've said this a million times, making him priority though, but more importantly, saying that they're not interested in Jadon Sancho anymore. And that's from MEN. They've been reporting that. Manchester Evening News, a lot coming out from Manchester Evening News earlier on today. Mark spoke about it earlier, and I want to ask these guys what they think, and you guys in the comments as well, about the mole in the camp, the stuff that's leaking out the dressing room, the David De Gea, Dean Henderson stuff. There's loads to get through as well. And I think with Haaland being in Manchester at the Lowry, ready to face City, it's just kind of sparked a lot of more conversation about that. So that's where we're going to start. Jay, I'll start with you, actually. This Erling Haaland situation won't go away. But more importantly now, what we are hearing is that because we've spent the best part of £40 million on Ahmad and Pellistri combined, they've invested into that area now, and they don't see Jadon Sancho as a priority. Although Dortmund are the ones saying, actually, now we'll listen to offers for him.
Yeah, Dortmund listen to offers now because he hasn't had a great season. And they'll probably take, I would imagine, somewhere in the region of 70, 80 million euros for him. On that money, I'd pull a trigger and do that deal. We know that Ahmed isn't getting the game time that we all think he should be coming on 10 minutes to go in game. He's not getting the game time. Pellistri, who knows? He may get some games next season in the EFL Cup. He may not. So I don't know enough about Pellistri because we haven't seen him. So it's remiss of me to say, oh yeah, next season right wing it'll be Pellistri fighting it out with Ahmed. I don't see it. I just don't see it. Look, last season it suited the club to have the social media frenzy. Last season the club got 3 months of social media frenzy and clickbait off a deal that I don't believe they had the funds to do, but it suited them to be linked to the deal. Yes, they put in an opening gambit low ball offer that Dortmund were never going to accept. And the final week of the season, they're still building because it suits them as a business model for traction on social media and get millions and millions of clicks and likes linked to a Haaland or Jadon Sancho. And I expect this story to run and run and run. And after what I've seen in the Manchester Evening News, which we'll discuss later on, any article that they put out, I'll say the old saying, a paper never refuses ink. That, to me, guys, that's a bit of a rag newspaper. I'm not from Manchester, but when I see that paper online, they'll print anything to get their own clicks and likes.
Interesting what you're saying there. I mean, there's been a lot made of it, Kev. The Haaland situation, it won't go away. You got Pep saying they can't afford him. You got Man United not really saying anything, but we know we do want him. Chelsea maybe inside for him as well. Real Madrid, Barcelona. Real has gone on tour to try and pawn him out. He's looking for the best place to get him. How do you see it all? Especially now that we're saying that we ain't looking at Sancho anymore, even though Dortmund are saying, actually, we will listen now.
Well, on the Sancho thing, I would look at it from last season, and I think the form of Jack Grealish, if you're looking more or less ball figure around the same for Sancho, if you've got to pay an extra 20 for Grealish, I'd go for Grealish. He's Premier League proven. I think the money can be better spent than on Jadon Sancho. That's where I would be looking. On the Haaland thing, listen, you just said Pep Guardiola coming out and saying Manchester City haven't got the money to spend on a player like that. That's a smokescreen, if anything. And so it's ridiculous today. You see him rocking up at the Lowry and he's got like a blue Louis Vuitton bag on. And the story the evening throughout today was United fans are sus that he's going to City. So I clicked into it and I'm like, it's because he's wearing a blue Louis Vuitton bag, and I'm like, what's how do people read? And how is it even a story? How have we even clicked into this? And that's exactly how it works, doesn't it? Haaland, listen, the worst thing about Haaland is the fact of his agent is Raiola. And it's kind of, I would be totally against everything I've ever said. I've always said we should not deal with this clown again. Everything he's done, he's disrespected Manchester United, the way he's handled the Pogba situation. I think it's disgraceful. But I find myself thinking we can't miss out on Haaland if he's available. We know that it's 60 million. Is it next season if he was to stay at Dortmund? So Dortmund are rightly now looking while his stock's high and going, well, we might be able to get 100, 150. It makes total sense for Dortmund to be doing this. And it's just so clever by Raiola again. You know, he knows that this lad is probably the next sort of Ibrahimovic in that kind of mold. You know, he's going to score goals wherever he goes. He'll move him on. And it's just whether Manchester United is a bigger enough attraction for Haaland to go to. There's some big clubs out there. I'm not saying United are not, but it's just where we are at the minute. And also, you sort of feel that money could be spent, you know, better in other positions. There are other positions that we're crying out for, but I would not want to miss out on him if we could get him.
Kanani says, Flex, to settle last night's argument, Bruno will win Fans Player of the Year and Shaw will win Players Player of the Year. Hashtag Team Beth. If you know, you know. We'll get there later on in the show. And a super chat contribution from Usman. Appreciate that. And Philip says, hey, Flex and the crew, why spend all the transfer budget on one player when we need to bring in a few players rather than blowing it all on one player? That seems to be a common theme. Ricky, I know you kind of see the whole transfer situation and transfer talk a little bit differently. And I know sometimes you always say, you know, forget bringing players in. He's not even playing the right players out of what we got. But if you leave that to the side, where do you stand on this Erling Haaland situation and the fact that Man United are saying we're not even interested in Sancho anymore, even though he's actually available now?
On the Haaland situation, obviously, from what I've seen, it'd be a fantastic signing. I've got to say, everybody who's watched regular knows what a big fan I am of Anthony Martial. And Anthony Martial's been getting slated from pillar to post for not scoring enough goals this season and not getting on the end of things in the box. And then when Cavani scored a couple of goals, Cavani was flavour of the month and everybody was banging on, that's how to do it. Now I'm seeing people turning on Cavani because he's not getting so many chances and he's not getting on the end of things in the box. And then lo and behold, yesterday, after Cavani comes off, we switch Mason into number 9. He manages to get a goal. He's only been in at number 9 for 5 minutes before he scored. And there must be 1,000 people on Twitter saying to me, there you go, he's the answer. So what do we need Haaland for? What do we need him for?
Exactly.
So I'm reading between the lines. So do you want him then, Rick?
Yeah, without a doubt, yeah.
Okay, at least we get what you're saying from there. I hear what you're saying. Beth, what say you on that situation? You're on mute. Take it off mute.
I've been on mute the whole time.
You've been on mute the whole time.
I thought I kept saying things. People were like, "Well, if you listen to me," I was like, "What?" But with the whole situation, what I think is Haaland is a marquee signing, is he? He's one of them players. He's like that type of player you can't miss out on. He's like an Mbappe. So, of course, you're not going to say no to him. But when you look at how Greenwood's developed over the past year, yes, he's not scoring as many goals, but his overall play has developed. I think he's one of the most talented players in our team, and he's only 19. And if he can keep doing things like he did yesterday, making a lot more runs into the box when he was playing number 9, getting his head on the end of things in the box and watch him develop, he could develop into the number 9 that we need, and we could spend the money elsewhere on other signings that we're very desperately in need of, such as CDM, centre-back, even possibly right wing. So spend the money on the right wing and then move Greenwood to the striker. But you're taking a risk with that one because you don't want to do it and then him not be able to perform to the highest level. I think he could do with time, but do you have time at Manchester United to allow a teenager to develop into a number 9? But obviously, if Haaland comes, you're just going to keep seeing him on the right wing constantly. And I don't think that's where his best position should be. He should be playing up front for us eventually. But in order to do that, he needs time to get used to the position. And to be able to hold down his spot. And when Haaland's in, he's going to start every time. I know we've got Champions League, not Europa League, hopefully. I know we've got Champions League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup. So there's going to be rotation, but we know what Ollie's like. Once he's got Haaland, he's going to start number 9 every game. So it's just what you want to do. But ultimately, I don't want to see him to go to another club in the Premier League. So if he's going to go to the Premier League, I want us to have him. So it's a difficult one.
Flex, I was going to say, the way you need to look at this is, right, if we're talking, let's say 150 million for Haaland, that is pretty much going to be United's summer spending, and that would be a hell of a lot of money.
Exactly.
So if we throw in, just for argument's sake, if you could get, I don't know, say Grealish and Declan Rice for, you know, that same fee that you get for Haaland, it's the kind of question you ask yourself, then you go, I know we don't want to miss out on him if there's a sniff we can get Haaland, but there are other positions that would totally transform our team. Haaland would, but, you know, 2 for the price of 1 kind of thing.
Saruba says Grealish and Neves, not Haaland, should be our priority. Our top priority signings for the summer, improve our midfield. And Jack says, this summer I would only focus on positions that need strengthening and then go all out for Haaland, but only when his release clause comes in. But that's assuming, Jack, that he's still there. You know, that, and I think that's where like the kind of confusion with it comes from, because if he's not there next year because they cash in, that could make it a lot more difficult to happen. Another super chat here from David. David says, hey guys, the Delhi guy here. I was thinking of a wizard came to you and said you can cut any finger off for 10 years of greatness again. Would you do it? Would I cut one of them off? Nah, I need him. I'd rather us just earn it back, you know. Nathan says, as long as the manager is Ollie, it don't matter who our number 9 is. Chances will be hard to come by. Please address this. We will talk about the style of play and stuff like that for sure. Yasser said, I wish people would people understood what Ricky is saying about when he speaks about Dan James. He changes how we play so dramatically because he's a natural winger. One of Ricky's paid members in there just to get them.
That's Ricky's son, that.
I'm only joking. And Alex, what's your thoughts on this whole situation?
Well, first of all, I think it's irrelevant with the teams that are in there that we'd even get him, because Bayern have said as well that they want him to add to the list of City. Like, these are teams that, like, Bayern have literally come out and said it. So I don't think we really have much chance of getting him anyway. But in terms of would I take him? Yes, in a heartbeat. But I agree with like what Kev said, that we need other like a right winger, a CDM, and a centre back all before we need a striker. In my opinion, we went this whole season essentially without a goal scoring striker. It's mainly been Rashford and Bruno scoring the goals. So we've shown that we have in our midst the highest scoring teenager in the whole of like Europe's top 5 leagues. So I wouldn't be 100% against. I think Cavani will leave. So if we sign a striker, I wouldn't be against us just getting like some lower level striker that can just sub in for Martial, have Martial as first choice, but then, or Martial and Greenwood battling it out for first choice. Because in terms of like overall performance and stuff, I think that, but at least by the end of last season, that next season, Greenwood will be starting over Martial anyway. And I know Ricky will disagree with that, but other top teams, if they had a player like we have with Greenwood, and you just hear about like Gary Neville and everyone talk about him, like all like the extra, like how excited they are by him. If they had other teams had a talent that good, they wouldn't be wanting to try to sign someone like that. Especially the main thing with Haaland is because he's so young as well. So you may as well sell Greenwood if you're bringing Haaland in.
Because we won't get the
because Haaland's 20, Greenwood's 19. It would be different if you're bringing like a Harry Kane in or something who's already like in the prime years. Haaland's still coming up into his prime years. But of course, I would take Haaland if we signed him, and I'd be overjoyed if we signed him. But
is United signing Haaland more important than another club signing Haaland? If I feel we have priorities elsewhere and talent up front. And Kadar says, hi. 4MDC, even if Haaland comes, who is going to create chances or service to him? That's where what we need to work on. What do you think? A lot of people do talk about style of play. And if United were to buy Haaland, surely Raiola would try and sell him to Real Madrid or Barcelona in 3 seasons time anyway. I mean, what would you say about that, Jay? Is that just have we got to be careful if we try and go after this player because he's going to be a bit of a journeyman?
You look, I see the career of Haaland going along down the exact same road of one of my favourite players of the last, say, 15 years, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. every 2 or 3 years, move it on, win a league title, win a cup, try. And although Ibra has never won a Champions League, obviously Haaland will. But every 2 or 3 years, Raiola will definitely want to move on that kid. No question about it. And the question I would ask people in the free seats, do we want to get back into bed with Raiola again, given the problems that we've had with Raiola and Pogba over the last 4 years? Personally, I wouldn't. If our budget is 150 million, it would be ludicrous, I think, to blow it on one player that we're not going to give the service to anyway. As everyone agrees in free seat super chat sitting here, we need a centre back, a CDM, a right winger, and a backup striker. So blowing the money on Haaland does not solve any of those problems. And you're back in bed with Raiola. So for that reason, hell no.
Hell no.
Hey, Flex, according to the Manchester Evening News, I got caught out again today on the old clickbait. We're signing Aguero. That'd be a nice one for the Glazers, wasn't it, on a free? Forget Haaland, bring Aguero in. Of course he'll come to us from City.
Just quickly, Jesse has scored such a good goal.
What a beat.
Do you know what? Do you know what? Yeah, I'll tell you what, Ricky. People have said, he's not the guy. Get rid, Jesse Lingard. He's gone to West Ham. Is it a case of bringing back Rick? Look how he's playing.
Well, he's playing great for him. I've got to say that. I've never seen him play as well. But I won't get it.
Someone just said Messi Lingard in the comments.
In the English squad. I think look, the problem is, it's like Van der Beek's problem, isn't it? If you did bring him back, he's playing as like a number 10, which is where Bruno was playing. So he'd just be sat on the bench again, wouldn't he?
Absolutely. It was just a quick one because he just scored a great goal. I see him just, run like 40 yards, put it in the bottom corner. It's brilliant. Great goal. Let's move the conversation on a little bit, though. I mean, John Hadley says there, Jack 80 million, Jack Grealish 80 million, Rice 50 million, plus Lingard, Varane 55 million, Cantwell at a punt, 5 million. I think Cantwell will cost more than that, especially because Norwich is going to come up. And Aaron's for 5 million. He's going to cost. Where are you getting these prices from?
Everyone always says about Grealish, and obviously Grealish is a superb player, but his best position is playing out on the left or in Bruno's role, so it'd be pointless. We need more. If you want to sign someone to play out wide, we need a right-sided player than a left-sided.
Absolutely. I want to get into this now. I want to get into the more news from MEN and just outlets in general, though, about the word coming out the dressing room. The players had kind of said that they wanted Dean Henderson to be the keeper from December. There was rumours that Ollie wanted to drop him, I think, in the West Brom game or a game quite a while ago. And when De Gea got wind of it, he was pissed off. Kev, what, is it becoming a little bit of a circus now? Is it getting a bit messy?
It is, because when stories like this start surfacing, there's no smoke without fire. This is obviously coming from a source within Old Trafford. I think the annoying thing will be that Solskjaer will be looking, sat in second place. He'll see this as progression this season. So there is somebody within the club, a so-called mole, who is definitely giving information to the press, which it's the last thing you want, isn't it, really? Especially at any football club, the last thing you want is somebody, some kind of informer that's giving information to the press. It can derail, your season, really. So it's disappointing, but am I surprised? Not really. I mean, it happens at every single football club, doesn't it? So I think it's how you deal with it. I mean,
they
obviously,
leaked our team as well yesterday.
The team's out like 4 hours now before it even happens. So the opposition, obviously, not that it matters that deeply, but the opposition are going to know who's playing anyway, and that does give an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see the thing, Beth, with De Gea, Henderson, and how this is panning out now? Because it's getting a bit nuts now.
I think it was always going to happen when Henderson came back. Like, we knew Henderson wasn't going to come back just to be a second keeper. So I was just waiting for when it was going to happen. I think the timing of it was a little bit. Like De Gea went to Spain, and I think Ollie saw an opportunity to then introduce him. He's obviously wanted to do it, but I don't think he's actually had the balls to do it up until he went to Spain. And then people say, "Wow, did you just put him in when he went to Spain?" I mean, who else is he going to put in net? Dean Henderson played okay. I don't think he didn't really have that much to do. He made a little mistake, but he seemed pretty solid. And then Ollie's obviously seen him as his number one, or else he wouldn't have put him in yesterday. And you know what? With all these rumours about De Gea leaving at the end of the season, I generally do think he probably will leave, because obviously he's had his child and everything like that. You can say that you want Henderson to play in goal without disrespecting De Gea. De Gea's had many good seasons for us, and obviously everyone here appreciates what he's done for the club. But everybody knows that over the last 2 or 3 seasons, he has gone a little bit below his standard. This season he's been good, but if he's going at the end of the season, why would you play him when you can give Dean Henderson, who's going to be in next season, the chance to get used to playing in the team, playing at Old Trafford, playing with the players, when next season is going to be massive for us? If De Gea is leaving, I don't see any point in playing him now. So if he is, then I understand why he's playing Henderson. And I do think Henderson does have what it takes to become our number one. Yesterday, I thought he looked solid. For Sheffield United, he looked solid. Obviously, it's a different kettle of fish playing for United. But what do you want him to do overnight? He's got to be able to prove himself. Whether he does, we'll have to see. But it's about risk taking, and that's what it is. And if De Gea does leave, you're getting a lot off your wage bill. You say thank you for everything you've done. Dean Henderson comes in and he starts his career at United, and I do think that is the right thing to do if De Gea is leaving.
I'm going to come to you, Jake, because I know you've got some strong comments on that as well, and some big points. Jake says, half the trouble of playing for United is the expectations. It doesn't matter if you're putting up 8s and 10s for West Ham. If you're going to put up 4s and 5s for United, I hear what you're saying there. It is a step up. Some people even bring that into the Henderson conversation as well. Mark Dobby says, Maguire is our biggest problem outside the board. Prefers Lindelof and wants an English partner. And I'm sure he's head of the De Gea out committee. Well, that's... you don't know that. I get that's your theory. That's you're entitled to have your theory. Dan Harden says there is more to the David De Gea story. His missus is famous in Spain, and she's like Shakira. I'm not going to say how you said it. Now has a kid and not going to want to live in Manchester. So basically, he wants to be over there with his family. And Emmett says, I have nothing against Henderson, but what has De Gea actually done to deserve to be dropped? Big up for that one. I think if KG was here, he'd drop a bomb for that. I think that's more what it's like. What has he done to be dropped? I don't really see it. And the last super chat here, actually, I think we've covered that one. Jay, Beth's kind of saying, why not give him the experience basically starting from now if you're planning on Henderson being the number one this year? Do you still stand by what you're saying about this is media driven, and now we're kind of seeing it could even be player driven?
Beth, I disagree with you 100% first of all. Because let's get put out on record. Did any of you watch Mark's video today? Mark put out an excellent video today on the Dean Henderson De Gea thing. So I don't want to paraphrase Mark or parrot what Mark said. So I'm going to give my own slant on it. David De Gea has played 337 games for United. He's the only member of that current squad, apart from your man Ricky Matic, that's actually won a league title in this country. He's won 2 Europa Leagues, 1 with Atletico Madrid and 1 with United. Mark went into great detail of going through every single goal conceded by the team this season. And Mark's reckon on it was only 2 of the goals could be attributed to goalkeeping mistakes. And the key common denominators in the mistakes were our slow CDMs, Armand Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof. The video's been hour long, go and watch it. So that was the key common denominator. David De Gea signed his contract back in 2019 on £375, £100,000 per week. To buy out his contract by any team, that's what, 58.5 million. So is the Glazers and the board going to take a massive hit on that money by his contract? It doesn't make business sense. David, and also Henderson is on 120,000 per week, and also Romero's on 80. So the numbers are very simple. We pay 29 million per year on goalkeepers, which is 575,000 sterling per week just on goalkeepers. That is on our inept chief executive and Matt Judge, our head of negotiations. So Solskjaer dropping Solskjaer for Henderson, it's lunacy, because now it's going to come to May and we're going to try and sell De Gea, and any team that even has, say, 35 minutes to buy him, can they afford to pay his wages? I don't know. Can Paris Saint-Germain or Barcelona can't, Real Madrid can't, Juve can't. So the only team that really can afford him on those wages is Paris Saint-Germain. Do they need a goalkeeper? I don't think so. So to drop a player on those wages now sends out a message to every other team in European football. Our goalkeeper is surplus to requirements. That lowers his value. So dropping him now makes no sense whatsoever. And it came out in that article. How much of the article is true or not, we'll never know. But if there is an actual person in a dressing room who's dropping stories to the media, well, he should be ashamed to wear the jersey. Better players than him, and I'm assuming it's one of the back four or one of the CDMs. I'm assuming. I'm not going to name names, but better men than him died for the club on club duty. So how dare any player of our club drop stories to media, which drops Solskjaer under the bus and drops De Gea under the bus. And what I feel was lunacy was it came out in the story that Solskjaer was going to drop I'm using my words here because my mouth is dry. He was going to drop De Gea back against West Brom when De Gea's previous game against Everton, we won 3-1, and it was Aaron Wan-Bissaka was the fall for the goal. So dropping him now makes no sense. Why can't he not continue as it was for the rest of the season prior to David going to Spain, play Ian Henderson in the cups, and play David De Gea in the league matches? It makes no sense for the team or financially. It makes zero sense.
And that's what they were doing just before. Go on, Beth, you was going to say something there.
I was going to say, obviously he might not do this, but he could swap it around. He could play De Gea in the Europa League now and play Henderson in the league. That could be a possibility of what he's going to do. Because he did say in his press conference, he often does lie, but he did say in his press conference
he lies a lot.
That most of them were going to play before the end of the season.
Solskjaer lies a hell of a lot. To play De Gea in the Europa League, that for me, that's tantamount to a demotion. It's a demotion.
Like I said to you yesterday, it's a promotion. If you were in their position right now, surely you'd rather play in the competition that you can win a trophy.
But he's going to win a trophy,
yeah.
Well, Rick, how do you know? Well, before I come to Rick, Ron, it says if English media had done with Axel like they had done with Hendo, then Ollie would have picked Axel over Lindelof every time. Ollie is weak-minded. What's your thoughts on that? Some people are basically saying that. And Salah Ahmed said Henderson is not good enough, not done enough to warrant a start over David De Gea, who has been one of our most consistent players this season. He deserves respect. And I've read that one already. Rick, are you bothered about this, or do you see it as, you know what, they're both okay? If David De Gea leaves, then so be it. Are you involved in this, like in terms of feeling?
Not as much as a lot of other people are. I take what Jay's saying about the wages that they're on and what they're going to do. You know, if you're thinking about it as you know, business minded, then I think De Gea should be back in the sticks, really. But if you're just literally picking between the two keepers, I'm not too sure. You know, just on the strength of the two keepers, I'm not too sure whether there's much difference. Really not. But certainly, you know, for business sense, I think De Gea should be playing. It's going to cost him a fortune, I think.
Do you like Henderson?
Yeah, I think he's decent. Yeah, I mean, he dropped one at the weekend, didn't he? He's not been absolutely fantastic. But, yeah, he's just
decent.
A decent keeper, yeah. And I don't think, you know, you need to see a keeper for a lot longer than that, don't you? I mean, there was a spell when De Gea drops a few clangers. You know, he dropped 3 or 4 clangers in the space of about 10 games, didn't he?
Bad ones.
De Gea's the better keeper for me any day of the week. If anybody asks me, first name on the team sheet, I don't think you can say it's a close call between the two of them. Different attributes, but for me, David De Gea, you think of the service that he's given us at United. And you usually think, look at goalkeepers. Look at us when we signed Edwin van der Sar. You know, Ferguson always said it was a big regret of his was not signing him earlier. But we signed him in his 30s. You know, David De Gea could still be at Old Trafford. It's obviously Henderson's put pressure on him, feels he should have that place. Yeah, fair enough. In a few years' time or whatever, come and fight for your place. But De Gea would be in net for me every week.
Even though a lot of the goals this season technically weren't by De Gea, personally, I see attributes in Henderson that I like for a modern day keeper. And I do think De Gea I do think he's good. Don't get me wrong. I would not mind if he stayed or he played in goal. But if he's leaving and Henderson's there, I'm not worried about the keeper position. Do you know what I mean? I generally don't see much difference, but I do see attributes in Henderson that can step up and be the next keeper for United. I do think
Is it the age
get
thing,
lost
Beth?
on the fact De Gea was so good for them years, and he's still a good keeper, but I don't think he's anywhere near to the standard that he was.
Is it the age? Is it the fact that he can? We look at Henderson. He's come through the youth rank, and we know he can go on to be the keeper for the next, say, 10 years. Whereas De Gea could be the keeper if we say we weren't in this position with another keeper there. De Gea could be our keeper for the next 6 years at his age, really, if he keeps his levels high. Is it the age thing?
Yeah, it could. Do you know what though? De Gea could still go on for years and you could sell Henderson. It's not really to do with the age. I don't know, but we don't know. Maybe De Gea does want to leave. Maybe he has fallen out with the board. Maybe he doesn't want to play there anymore. Maybe there has been an upset. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. All we know is it looks like Henderson's being lined up and the manager and the players have belief in him to be the next number one. And what they decide is what is decided at the end of the day. To me, it doesn't affect me because I think both of them are good keepers. I do. But I see some attributes in De Gea, like he doesn't come off his line quite as much. He's shot stopping from outside the box hasn't been the greatest. I know I'm just picking at small things because he is a good keeper. I don't know. I just don't see the difference really and you know what? I do think Henderson has such a good season at Sheffield United. I know you can't just look at one season at that club. He's got to do it at United and he's got to do it when everyone's back in the ground. I understand that. But I do think he does deserve the chance. I do.
To me, I think it just comes down to like the attributes, like what Beth was saying. It's because De Gea literally doesn't command his box at all, doesn't come off his line at all. So now we have a keeper that's actually doing that. People are like, oh my God, this is what we've been missing out on. He's so good, blah, blah, blah. Whereas it's not on Henderson himself because I think he's just doing like the standard of what a modern day keeper would do, but he doesn't necessarily do it at a higher level. He's what now, like 23, 24?
Yeah.
Do you remember David De Gea at 23, 24, the absolute levels above than what Henderson is right now? So people are just like obsessing over it. We're comparing current Henderson to out of form De Gea. If they were both in form, De Gea is levels above. And I think it's just because he just does stuff that De Gea doesn't do. So that's why I'm in favour. So if we take sentiment out of it and say De Gea's past it now, whatever, for like playing devil's advocate, then I would rather just get a new keeper than maybe give Henderson a season. But I don't think he's like anything like that special because, like I said, I remember De Gea at his age and he was levels above what Henderson is now.
Sorry, go on, Kev. Go on, Kev.
I think that the thing that's annoying me is the way that it's been done. You know, De Gea must have been given permission to go to the birth of his first child. So in theory, it's a bit like going on holiday or whatever, leaving your missus, going on holiday, coming back, and she's found somebody else, and she's more or less saying, you know, you need to leave, pack up your gear, and go. I don't want you anymore. And you're like, well, what have I done? You know what I mean? You said I could go on this holiday. So, and the way that United have disrespected ex-players, we spoke about this last night at the Fan Forum. Van Persie is a classic example of a player who single-handedly won us a league title, and he was just shipped out. Nothing was ever heard of him, just shipped off and gone. And the worrying thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if De Gea has actually played his last game for United the way that it's going at the minute. It could go towards.
I don't
want it to be.
I'd be disgusted if that happened.
Surely that can't happen. There would be outrage if that happened. But I see.
But there's no fans though, so that they.
There's no fans.
The sort of thing they can
You've got to give him his last
it.
game after everything he's done for the club. You do.
He will get that. But I do think it is important. Like Beth was touching on it there, and I know you said it a lot as well, Alex. Just in general, maybe there is a situation here that he has spoke to Ollie and has said, you know what, I wouldn't mind leaving. I can see you want to bring the young kid in. I'm not going to stay here and be second keeper. Plus, actually, this is decent timing. Just had my first child. Get me back to Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid or whatever. And maybe it's all just falling in line and we just don't like it as fans because it looks like a choice is being made. But maybe the choice needs to be made anyway.
if we had good owners and ambition, we'd say, okay, a perfect deal to be made then is to be like, hey, Oblak, do you want a new challenge? To give De Gea to Atletico and offer them money, and then we get Oblak. He's been at Atletico for ages.
But then Oblak's at his stage of his career is not going to come and be a number 2, and then we got Henderson there who's saying, "I'm not going to be number 2." That's what will happen.
Number 2, yeah. If Oblak came, Henderson isn't even good enough to clean his boots. So he
you say this, but that's what I'm saying. But they've just given him a 6-year contract. 100. They want him to be Man United's number 1. Ollie said it. England's number 1. And
he's not even England's number 1 though. He's England's number 2.
But he said he's going to be that. Once, don't get twisted. Once Dean Henderson plays week in, week out for Man United, by default he'll get that. He'll get it. He'll get it. Especially if we are doing well as well. Because it's not like Henderson's like playing how Pickford plays, where he's making loads of clangers and we're like flipping out. He's shit. Like, we're not doing that. We think he's a steady keeper. It's just because we've got a world-class keeper already. If Henderson was our number 1, I don't think we'll have huge problems in between the sticks. I just feel that it's because we've got another keeper already who's very good.
Put it this way, if he had no connections to United and Henderson was at Everton or something, do you think any of these United fans want it? Even Jack?
It's because he's us.
He loves it.
Yeah, it's because he's us.
Do you think anyone would be like, oh, that Henderson, we should go push the boat out to get him? No one would. You just
when he was at Sheffield United, I thought that. When he was at Sheffield United, I watched him and thought he could be something big.
Oh, did you?
I thought he was really good at Sheffield United.
Yeah. Right, let me get these super chats out and then we'll go into the next part of the show. Hiron says, next excuse for no trophies. We need our young goalkeeper to develop into a world-class goalkeeper. We already have the finished article where we have developed De Gea for 10 years and now not taking advantage of that. Do me a favour. KA says it happened. I've got a bit of an echo there. I don't know if someone's got their thing too loud. It's happened to Rio and Evra. What makes you all think we can't see that happen? Romero had better numbers and I didn't hear all the Ravens, 100%. And Shadman says, do people remember a certain Ben Foster? Very good keeper, touted for greatness, couldn't make it at United. Better ones like Barthez and Tim Howard too. Basically saying how people can always come to Man United with high expectancy and it doesn't always work out, especially between the sticks. Rafa says, point taken, Beth and Alex. However, we do need to remember that De Gea is used to playing with a better class of centre-back. He didn't need to be as vocal, basically, in his prime.
But no, that's the complete opposite. Because remember what we said on the fan forum before about like the main issues with De Gea started when he went away with Spain was playing with like Ramos and stuff where he didn't have to do anything. And I find a big issue with De Gea is when he's having to concentrate, when he only has like 2 or 3 saves to make. When he was getting peppered,
it was the lack of
Smalling and stuff in front of him, and he was having to make like 10 saves a game. Is when he was brilliant.
Yeah, JB says this whole goalkeeper thing is the perfect media smokescreen to a disgraceful transfer window we're about to have, which is what Jay was kind of touching on as well, all media driven. And Joshua Harper says, fair play to Ricky for not pretending to be a goalkeeping expert. Alex, Rick was like, listen, I'm not really fussed, mate. He's decent. I like that. People love the honesty, Rick. That's what it's about. Alex must have played 200 games in net, apparently. He knows it all. And Gabriel says it's a disgrace. David De Gea is as close to United legend as you can get. If you're not one, we'd be without Europe for seasons without him. The way this came out shows to me that Ollie is a poor manager. So loads to get into there. Smash a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Hit the notifications in the bottom right-hand corner. Big week coming up for Man United as we go forward into this week for the Europa League with Granada. And Javian says the birth of his child might have made his mind up. He might have come back and said that he wants to leave, and that's what Beth said. We don't know what's really going on. It just seems really fishy. I know Joe made some really good points about how all of a sudden this has come up. What has De Gea actually done wrong to get dropped? It just doesn't add up. But something's going on there. I want to talk about now some topical stuff that I think the guys want to talk about. I know Jay's got his notebook. I know Ricky's got his notebook. I know Alex has always got some interesting stuff to say. Kevin, Beth as well.
Got it all in my brain.
Yeah. You've just got it not written down, but it's all up there, 100%. I'll start with you, Rick. I mean, you made some notes and stuff, and I know that when Mason scored, let's talk about Mason Greenwood. Let's talk about, what the expectancy can be and what you are and aren't saying. And in the comments, get involved. I mean, Rick, you were saying that basically to give a bit of context.
I've said numerous times on the show, said numerous times that I want Manchester United to be winning Champions Leagues and winning Premier Leagues. That's where I want us to get to, right? And look, I'm sorry. I think he looks like he's got a great chance of being a top player, a really good player. But I don't think Mason Greenwood is going to be the answer for us if we want to start winning Premier League titles and European Cups. And I get lots of people saying to me, give the lad a chance, he's only 19. I understand that. But if he's going to be good enough, if we want to start making strides forward, I mean, we've just spent 20 minutes talking about, do we need Haaland? And yet so many people are on my case, for me saying that I don't think Greenwood's going to be the answer. Probably some of them same people are probably saying, I hope we get Haaland, you know what I mean? So the only reason I mentioned it, when I mentioned it before we went live, didn't I, is that there must have been 50 people on Twitter saying to me, there you go, sit down, because he scored a goal. You know
me being one of them.
50,000, you mean?
All these strikers here have all scored a goal, all play for smallish teams compared to us. Diagna at West Brom, Woods at Burnley, Vidra at Burnley, Joe Linton at Newcastle, Welbeck, Watkins, Mitrovic, Batshuayi. Now then, I know he's only 19, but if you're playing in Manchester United's first team, I mean, I don't know if any of them players are as good a striker or would score as many goals, right? I don't know. But let's just pick the one off the bottom of the list who's just come on as a sub for Crystal Palace. Batshuayi, just come on as a sub for Crystal Palace tonight. He's just scored a goal in the Premier League. There's 100 people or 50-odd people saying to me, he scored a goal, there you go. Do you understand where I'm coming from? It doesn't mean anything.
I would 100% agree. I would 100% agree with you if you were consistent with your arguments. But you've spent the entire season saying that it doesn't matter about Martial not scoring goals because it doesn't matter who the goal scorer is. Now because Greenwood scored, it's reversed.
I think I'm saying the same thing, aren't I?
But
I'm saying the same thing.
Then you want Martial to start, and he's not been scoring.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that he scored. Of course it's a good thing that he scored. Of course it is.
I really gave you the stat though. No teenager in the whole world has scored more than him. No United player since Norman Whiteside scored more goals than he did at a younger age. That's no Wayne Rooney, no Cristiano Ronaldo, no George.
He's third in the list. I think
he's 2 goals off Wayne Rooney's goals as a teenager.
At the end of the day, we will never know the. When I say never, it's too far in advance before we will know the answer. But I believe if Mason, look, I hope I'm wrong. I want every player who plays for United to be the best. I want the best. But there's probably not a man on this, or lady, I should say, Beth. All 6 on here, we probably all would love Haaland to come, won't we? We probably all want Haaland to play every minute of every match at number 9 for us. What does that tell you?
But what 19-year-old in world football leads the line as a lone striker?
Haaland.
So you can't. He's Haaland does, but he's been doing it for 3 seasons.
I just think Greenwood's overall
Greenwood is good enough to. If they don't have Haaland, Greenwood's good enough to be at Dortmund leading the line for them. With some of the players that get high numbers in that league.
Forget the numbers. Like I said, I'm not talking about the numbers. You know what I mean? I'm really not.
The numbers do matter. Like, we got away with it, really, in the grand scheme of things this season for having a striker that doesn't score. And I know, like, Liverpool won the league with having a striker that doesn't score. But for the most part, we've always been built on having a high goal-scoring striker. And long-term, we do need a high-scoring goal striker. But Martial and Greenwood, in my opinion, are both capable of being that. They just both had a poor goal-scoring season at the same time.
Jay, I know that you'll be ready. You're pushing the pen. Yeah, you're probably clicking it like this, just ready. Oh, is that a pen? What is that? Yeah, it's a pen.
It won't click. I'm rotating. I'm rotating. It won't click. I'm rotating.
Jay, what are you saying about Mason Greenwood?
So we're going to do Mason Greenwood. Okay, we're going to do Mason. Okay, so yeah, agree with some of what Alex said. No player since Norman Whiteside, who played back in the 80s, has got 20 goals at that young age. Last season, he scored 16. He got 10 in the Premiership, 5 Europa League, and 1 EFL. This season, he's got 4 goals, 1 EFL, 1 Champions League, and 2 in the Premiership. Martial has 4 league goals. Martial, for me, last season, he was our best striker, no question about it. But over, I think you can only judge Mason Greenwood over a 5 or 6 year period. and we have got to judge Martial over the same 5 or 6 year period. So Martial, over the 5 or 6 years, I would argue, and Ricky, you disagree with me, that he hasn't developed at the same rate that I would expect him to over that 5 or 6 seasons.
100%.
Okay, I know he does a lot of work off the ball, but as a striker, he hasn't developed at the same rate I would expect from our number 1, number 9. He threw his tires out of the pram when Zlatan came, and he did it again when Cavani came. Okay, and Ricky, you come back at me, but by all means.
I think Ricky's agreeing.
Right now, right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, come back at me. Come back at me. Yeah. Right now. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I think I mentioned this earlier. I can't remember if we were live at the time, but everybody's been banging on about Martial not scoring enough goals, and I've said loads of times Martial needs to be playing. Look, I'm sorry to bring it to the wide players again, but we need better supply. We do need better supply for our number 9. So what I mentioned earlier, Jay, was when Cavani first came in the team and he scored a few goals, let's be honest here, every man and his dog was saying, Cavani's the answer, look at his movement in the box. Martial needs to be learning from him and Greenwood needs to be learning from him.
That did happen.
I said that. I actually said that. I said that. I did say that. Yeah, I did.
Let him finish.
And I think if we sign Haaland, I think his numbers will drop off dramatically.
In this team?
Yeah, in this team. Yeah.
Because of the way we play football. That's true. That's true.
What if we put
actually, that's a good point. That's a good point. Like the vast bulk of our chances are created from the left-hand side. For the most part, I feel on the right side this season, we've been pretty much dead. Yeah. If you look at the game yesterday, it was that lovely pass from Luke Shaw to Bruno.
Yeah.
Bruno taking that little half second. He sees the run of Pogba. Pogba's hand is in the air, knocks it over. Luckily for us, Pogba mishit it, and Mason Greenwood. And I said last night in the show, Mason Greenwood was making that run, anticipating a knock on or a spill from the goalkeeper before Pogba even had the shot. And that's the instinct of a number 9. And I also said last night in the show that I feel that when his teammates start reading his runs, he will get more chances. And it doesn't take rocket science to figure out the more chances you get, the more chances you're going to score. Michael Jordan said, you miss 100% of the chances you don't take. So I do believe, guys, for the rest of the season, stick Cavani on the bench if necessary. Because I like Cavani, but one of us saw yesterday, he was rusty, but is his head already back in South America? Who knows? Yesterday he was terrible.
Yeah, he looks a bit off. He looks a bit off, Cavani.
Yeah, he does. So I'd be of the opinion, start Mason Greenwood up front. Give him his head. Like Ole had no problem dropping De Gea and give Henderson his head. So for the rest of the games, start Mason and see what he can do. And if he gets tired or whatever, 70 minutes, bring on Cavani. Next point that I was going to say as well, we are dead on the right hand side. Now I know, Ricky, you think that Dan James is a future Ballon d'Or winner, but for me, he as a winger, his end product, literally beating the fullback, crossing the box. I don't think his crossing is clinical enough for a right winger. And when he plays, yes, he tracks back. His work rate is phenomenal, but I don't think crossing the box. I think for a winger, that's ironically a weakness in his game. And for that reason, we are dead on the right-hand side. On the right-hand side, Greenwood has been shuttled there because we don't have a winger, and we've been playing either Cavani or Martial up top. So I say, right, against Granada, perfect opportunity, Granada. Okay, we should beat them. I haven't researched them yet, so I'd be lying if I said I knew much about them. I don't yet. But start Mason up top against Granada and see what he can do. And play Dan James on the right and see, can Dan James cross him the goddamn ball?
Kev, what's your Kev, what's your say on this, Kev? As you're taking it all in,
I was just finishing off my popcorn then. Listen, on Martial, I do agree with Jay to an extent that if you're looking at figures, numbers, whatever, what you would judge a player on would be the time period that he's been at Manchester United. For me, Greenwood is the future. So you would have to be looking towards that, giving him a run of games. Whereas Martial, 5 years or whatever at United, and you do think, has he progressed? You know, when he scored that goal against Liverpool on his debut at Old Trafford, and you were thinking, wow, as Borat would say. You were thinking, this lad's, you know, he's got pace, power. We didn't really know that much about him. Has he really developed the way that we all would have thought he would have? Yes, he's a quality player. Don't get me wrong. I still don't think he's a number 9. I think he believes he is a number 9. But I think
What do you think he is, a right winger? Do you think he's a right winger then?
I think play him off the left. I think he's been more effective that kind of Henry, coming off the left-hand side. I've got no problem with him being in the team because I think technically he's up there with our better players like Pogba and Fernandes. But again, you know, like Jay said, he did spit his dummy out when Ibrahimovic come. And the same when Cavani come as well. So to me, it'd be like, well, he's obviously not up for the fight, is he, or anything?
Plus, if you did put him on the left wing next season as his position, and you've got, if you're playing Mason or we buy someone, depending if whatever we do, you've got an option to put him at striker if needs be, which is always a good thing. Having a player who can play in 2 different positions is a good thing for the team. And I think in most other teams, he would be a very good number 9. But in our team, we just need that little bit extra at the top level. Like I do think he's got the quality to play number 9. But for us, I think he is better off the left. I think we need a more clinical and a more, I'd probably say, ice cold goal scorer in front of goal.
I think
like Mason.
I think I just need to just keep seeing more. Whether it's on the right, up front, just keep coming in, Mason. Keep getting the confidence from Ollie. Keep growing. Keep developing. I haven't really gone, he is this or he is that yet. I just know he's got bags of ability, and I think, like you say, like a lot of you lot said, he's so raw and young. There was a point in this season where I was getting a bit, not worried because it's only his second season, but I was like, I'm not seeing him in the games enough. Like he wasn't affecting the play. He was there, but he wasn't there, if you get what I mean. Which I get it. That can come as a young player. And then what I have liked about him in the last sort of month and a half, he started to understand his role more and what's been asked of him, even if he's not scoring. So he is developing. I think he's on a good trajectory. Obviously, the goals are way down last year. I think Bruno touched on it, said, look, nobody knew who the kid was as an opposition last year. You don't know what he's going to do. Now, if you're a defender playing against Mason Greenwood, you're saying, don't let him get half a yard on any foot. Everyone get around him, smother him. It's not even like show him left or show him right. Don't give him half a yard on any foot and try and get 2 on him if you can. Don't let him cut inside. And maybe that, it's always difficult to do it in your second season. You know, Martial found that. You know, Martial didn't have another good season till last season from his first year. Do you know what I mean? So consistency obviously is the biggest thing. And I just think I'm willing to just really just take it easy with Mason and enjoy it and just see where he can get to. He's got loads of ability. And one thing under Ollie, what you can't criticise him for, he's definitely going to get a big amount of opportunity under Ollie. Ollie's brought him through. He 100% believes in him. And he's going to get the chance to do it, in my opinion.
Do you know what, as well? He's playing off the right-hand side without a right-back who can actually help him out on that position. Like Luke Shaw, the amount he gets forward and helps out and kind of does that little triangle with Bruno and Rashford. Mason's kind of there, and Wan-Bissaka makes overlapping runs, but he's not committed to him. You can tell he doesn't really want the ball back. I think next season, that's another area we need to look at. We need to bring in or have some competition, possibly even look to bring Dallo back, have someone who can give some attacking presence on the right-hand side for certain games, because I just don't see it happening with Wan-Bissaka. He's a great defensive player, but he's offering nothing to that right-hand side, which, again, makes it non-existent in playmaking. And you've got a 19-year-old there who's trying to do it all on his own. You've got to keep that into consideration as well. And I think he's doing a very good job considering what he's being asked to do.
We talk about...
Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, touching on that and what people were saying earlier, we talk about like lack of creativity, and don't get me wrong, I do agree with that. But when you look at like the chances created in the league, Luke Shaw and Bruno and Player of the Year Luke Shaw are like 2 of the highest creative players in the league. So it makes me think, if we were to actually sort out that right hand side and get a creative right winger and a a more creative right back potentially, then would the strikers be struggling with the supply? Because at the moment we only seem to have one side.
That is true. We do go. Everything comes down the left. I tell you what, Traore's just gone on a great run, by the way, and scored what an assist. Another super chat here from Dan Harden says, nobody gives Martial credit. He has been asked to change his game constantly, built his body to be stronger from being a slick winger. Basically saying he's adaptable. And look, Martial, like Rashford, like even Paul Pogba, they've been in some crazy squads, a lot of change, a lot of stuff going on around them. When really, if we look at it, have we ever really been settled since Sir Alex has left? The answer is no. We've been all over the place. We've been chopping and changing. And I know people may pick out the best of some of the crap that there has been and say, well, at least under LVG, we kept the ball. Some people say, at least under Jose, we won stuff. Some people say, at least under Rolly, we're going in the right direction. There's so many bits you can pick out, but essentially, we're not back where we want to be under any of it. And that is the issue. But I do see that with Martial. He has had to put up with inconsistencies, just like Rashford has. They've pretty much got about the same amount of goals in that time, him and Rashford. There's not really much difference. But yet Rashford is kind of classed as doing better than him.
I think that's a bit before this season, though. I think because before that they were like, as of last season, they were about level. But I think Rashford's now obviously
because of this season
gone, quite far ahead of him.
The last sort of 5 or so minutes. I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts quickly on people that are saying about the sustainability of the football. We spoke about it yesterday on the fan forum quite a bit, but we're in a different space now, and just now the dust has settled. I'll go with Ricky first. The type of football that we're playing, we are second. But how do you see it? Do you worry that it's gonna, I don't know, run out? Do you forget what I mean?
I'm completely nonplussed by it, if I'm honest, Flex. When I watch us play, I can't believe that we are second in the league. I just can't believe it. Almost every time we play, very occasionally we play some good football. And in every game we play a little bit of good football. I've rewatched, not managed to watch it all yet, but I've watched the first hour of the game from yesterday. And this happens quite often, if I'm honest. When you're watching it live, you're a bit more, oh, come on, and you want it to happen and all that. And I've watched it today, when you're watching it the second time, you know the score, so it doesn't matter that much. and we did play some decent football at times, but it's just not consistent enough. And we've got to start playing. And look, this is... people will probably jump on me here and say it doesn't matter who scores. It doesn't matter who scores, but somebody's got to score. You know what I mean? So I'd like us to start putting some... We very, very rarely put a game to bed 2-0 or 3-0 up and comfortable, do we? It's so rare. It's probably happened,
not at Old Trafford.
It's probably happened a handful of times in the season where we've won by more than 2. You know what I mean? Or even by 2 or more, I should say. You know what I mean?
Alex, go on, Kev. Sorry,
I was going to say something that was nice to watch yesterday. Van der Beek, when he come off the bench in the build-up to Greenwood's goal. I mean, and there's a clip that sort of went out today. But just his movement, to ghost in. Obviously, Greenwood took it off him, but he just offers us something different, doesn't it? I think we're all bemused as to why he's not been in the team. He should get a run of games and stuff. The only way he's going to get confidence of playing at Manchester United is playing football. But for that goal yesterday, I thought movement-wise, it's different to what we've got. Different to Fred, different to McTominay.
On a plus, though, Alex, I know you've always backed Ollie, and in terms of the job he's doing and stuff like that. But on a plus, I don't want people to think it's all negative, and I'm trying to kind of push a negative agenda, because I'm not. On a plus, actually, he had McTominay warming up for a while yesterday and could have gone, I'll tell you what, Fred, you get off of McTominay, let me get Big Scott in there running around. But he didn't. I know it was the 80th minute, but he did bring Van der Beek on and Dan James. And then we did score. And I'm not saying we scored directly from them, but Ollie did resist trying to do the usual old same thing. And
I think such a big part of it, and I know I've said it on the fan forum before, is that I just hate this formation so much, and that I want us to change to 4-3-3. When Ollie first came in, we played 4-3-3, and everyone was saying how exciting football we were playing after, like, you could say, okay, that's the new manager bounce after Jose. The players, like, obviously Pogba hated Jose and stuff, so they really stepped up and wanted to prove him wrong and stuff. But I just feel like, in general, that is the best. That's the best formation. If we had like prime Matic or like a prime Carrick or someone that could play in that role, and then have Pogba and Bruno push forward, I think we'd create more for one, and we'd just be so much better. So that's why I say, I know people think we need a striker or we need a right winger or we need a centre-back, but I truly think if we got an elite level holding midfielder, that we wouldn't need a McFred's 2 people to do one person's job. And if we got like an elite level number 6 that could just play that role and be able to pass the ball and distribute and stuff, so that is just so crucial. And you'll find the whole team play better if we just did that.
Yeah, and it'll take for the manager to really change.
Can I come in on that? I mean, obviously, a lot of people talk about Pogba. Obviously, he's a player with a load of ability. A lot of people rate him as a world-class player. Well, he was playing yesterday, next to Fred. What difference did it make?
We didn't play good
football.
In
a 4-3-3, he'd be able to push further forward.
We only had the one, that we would normally call a holding midfield player. I know Pogba supposedly played a little bit deeper, but how deep did he play? He was in the box when he created the winning goal. Well, when I say created it, a missing shot for a winning goal. It's when you're playing football, you've got to have 2 midfield players who will be in position when the opposition have got the ball. You've got to have 2. Now, I know one of them might be a bit more creative. You might have, it's just different styles of players. I do get that. But you cannot go into a game without having 2 players who will be in front of your back 4 when the opposition have got the ball.
But also in that situation though, with the 4-3-3, you'd then move Bruno deeper, because at the moment Bruno essentially plays as like a second striker.
Yeah, that's true.
So it'd be like a 6 and 2-8. So Bruno would move deeper, but then when we have the ball, they both push up. If you go,
I think it's key. I think I think when you look at your football in a deep level, when you don't have the ball, even City do it. When they don't have the ball, they're all back. They're all behind. It doesn't matter how attacking you are. If you're Raheem Sterling, if you're Foden, if you're Mahrez, you get back behind the ball. Keep our shape, because that's how we can then go and press. That's how we can have intensity and win it back. It doesn't matter whether you're a striker, a left winger, a central midfielder. You still have to do both sides of the game if you're in a good cohesive unit. I agree with that. Jay, just before I come to you, Michael says it's not a secret Ollie is basing this team on the principles of the 07-08 team of Ronaldo and Rooney. Hence the deep midfield and double pivot. He wants interchanging forward. Carrick knows it as well. Let's see. To kind of finish off, Jake, we're at the end of the show. The type of football that we're seeing, Ricky alluding to it, that really it doesn't matter who plays. We said it yesterday on the fan forum. That's quite worrying that, Pogba, Bruno and Fred, we looked at before the game and thought, that's all right. But we didn't control the game. I saw Basuma having a great game. I saw Lallana doing pirouettes and Cruyff turns, just chilling. I saw Trossard dropping deep. Like they at times, Brighton played better football than us at times.
Yeah, I think yesterday that performance was probably a snapshot of our entire season and how we play. It's slow, ponderous passing, slow transitions from defense to attack. I think, guys, our tactics were about as predictable as a Rambo movie. We're dead on the right side, and we're almost waiting for a moment of brilliance on the left. Like yesterday, for me, the pass of the game was that pass played by Luke Shaw to put Bruno through. And again, if Luke Shaw hadn't the vision to find Bruno yesterday, we could easily lost that game. And no doubt, yesterday, for the first 50 minutes, we didn't have a shot on target. And until we scored, Brighton by far looked like the better coach side. Man for man, theoretically, we should have better players, Basuma aside, but they looked like the better coach and better drill side. When they were switching from defense to midfield to attack, they were honest in a split second. We couldn't breathe. And the goal that they scored was testament to how this transition. And I think had Danny Welbeck finished his dinner yesterday from another fast attack by Brighton, we lost. So yesterday, that 2-1 scrappy win, I think somebody said it on Twitter, we've taken 25 points this season from coming from behind. That's a startling stat.
A lot. Yeah.
Someone's going drastically wrong if over the course of a season we've taken that amount of points coming from. Okay, you can say, oh yeah, we're resilient, we're good at coming back, but I would argue we shouldn't be going behind to Premier League cannon fodder. You have to come back. We should be dominating the game, and the way we're set up, we don't dominate.
Yeah, and we don't. I think to finish off here, Kevin says, let's face it, we wasted 82 million last year on Van der Beek, Telles and Diallo and Palestri, and they will waste more to pay off De Gea. Wow. Guys, we've come to the end of the show. Another banger, man. Really enjoyed it. Great stuff. I like doing these Sunday, Monday shows. They're good. They're really enjoyable. We're getting good mix of all the United Stand cast on, and it's just a melting point of everyone to come together and have their say. Roll on Thursday. Tomorrow we've got Flex and KG. We'll be on tomorrow night at 7. There's some big games in the Champions League, so we'll be going at 7. Then on Wednesday we'll have probably the press conference reaction for the game on Thursday, and obviously on Thursday, you've got all your match stuff and all the fan forums, watch-alongs, and all of that jazz. Smash a like on the video if you guys are new. Thanks for staying with us tonight, and subscribe as well. We are gone. Peace.